Okay. Um, you know, one thing I want to do before the day comes for me to not be able to speak is to make sure that this low life that they use to break you down and to make you accepting of these manipulations never live that fantasized reality. And I think at this point, it's just more of a theatrical clownery kind of ways of acting. And so I'm realizing this like the most childlike individuals, and I'm not talking about just actual children, but actually adult too. So the the level of childlike and immaturity that I've seen from even the grown ass people, and some of these grown people are not grown people that should be this clown, that this much of a clowns. I've seen how being compromised can even push somebody in circumstances where they shouldn't be thinking in this way. They shouldn't try to kind of go into that route of acting in their time in this time period. What I'm just saying that I've seen somebody so compromised that even in their dire, not even dire, in a situation where they should focus on their health, their well-being, they're still dedicating time in these disgusting things. Sometimes in a scary way, but not even wanting to acknowledge that you've been doing that for a while now, right? As a matter of fact, when you were doing that initially, you're in a healthy situation. Today, you're going through very unhealthy circumstances. Most likely going to be okay, but it's not a certainty. It's not certain. It's not for sure. Things can get even worse in life just because of health, not because of financial issues, not because of lack of family support, just because for some reason during the time you're doing these things to me, you are gonna go through perhaps the hardest thing you're gonna go through in your life, in your health, right? Matter of fact, it's so scary that the day of this person's treatment that is gonna be very, very drastic is the day when all these things started with me, with the manipulation, with the V2K. So, you know, and still seeing people like them just still trying to create this and being comical in these ways and disturbing at the same time and still try to, I'm like, wow, that's perfect. For me, I'm like, okay, but please, like, I'm not advising against in the sense for their own sake, but I'm like, I would most likely kind of chill, if I was thinking in logical ways, like, these bad things are happening to me. Maybe right now is not the time to play this clown, as I'm going to go through some tough things that perhaps morally will need my energy there. But hey, more power to this person. Let them go through these things, doing these foul things. Perhaps she'll see the result of that. But the people here, they're so compromised. They have to live in this falsified reality. I love to be the person who is this logical, rational person, just because I understand the gaslighting me. Matter of fact, right now, some of the most active individuals in the gaslighting are very childlike people, even children, and some man-child I call these people. These people are just the magical beings that I would love to see. Those are like, oh my gosh, I want to see what you. And when I mean see, I'm not expecting to be impressed by what I'm seeing. Like, just think of a petty childlike man, a petty childlike woman, and then of course the actual children. That's what expect to see. And those who aren't like that by nature, seeing them stooping to that level, I'm like, oh, I love that because you make me feel so much superior. Not because I'm a superior human being. I'm superior because you are being a clown. That's so embarrassed by reality. Thank you, God, for giving me this opportunity in life to have this dignity. All the throughout today, I was hearing perps tell me how they dared to do these foul things where they're going to implant child porn. Now, it's clear who's running this program. I don't have to. It's clear that the government is running this program. I love the fact that it's just too obvious. The Department of Defense have been working on altering the brain since the 60s, right? They have some childlike shit right now in the hallways trying to disorient me by saying random things. It's deflections. It's the typical things, and they do it so systematically that it's just like, oh my gosh, that it doesn't even take a genius anymore. Matter of fact, perps like to mock this tactics. I was like, oh, are you unsure now? That they do this thing so systematically. It's clearly obvious that they want the target individual to believe that this is not this governmental entities that have been doing this from decades. In developing this weapon system that can alter the brain, right? And they use human subjects, which are target individuals, to develop this weapon system. And they surround them by having these losers of human beings, these bottom feeders, are supposed to gaslight you, deflect reality, kind of disorient you and confuse you, and use all kind of childlike tonalities in ways to try to make you be doubtful that you're being manipulated, but this is something that should be accepted. Try to create a rationale behind this forced manipulation. That's clearly manipulation via this technology that can do that. And they use children like people. Oh my gosh, I'm not mimicking. And they stick to this thing. I was like, wouldn't you want to switch it up, kind of make it sound less childlike, like less obvious? So now what they're doing it more to agitate me. For example, me, I deal with the V2K, voice to skull. That's how they alter my brain. I actually, when I was talking about the anniversary of what has happened to me in that fashion, this is when that person is going to go through whatever she's going to go through. But V2K is when they can obviously manipulate, not even just manipulate, but project voices. And once you get when they project their voices, they can start manipulating your brain too. And so that's when you hear this childlike people, right? And so this technology is super sophisticated. Right? There's so much capabilities that it sound almost science fictional. They have empowered these losers. And like the people partaking in that, you look at them, you're like, oh my goodness, no wonder why you love what you're involved in. Like you have no doubts, like you would love it to another level. It is, when I say this childlike, clown-like, weak cowardness that the picture doesn't even do justice sometimes. And they talk to you via voice to skull, right? And they use, oh, we dared. But what they're saying they dared is like, we dare to implant child porn in your computers. And they're saying this, like, bored, childlike way, like, oh, it's such a normal thing. But because it's coming from us, and, they have this facade, the psyops. It's so disgusting. The psyops comes in all shapes and forms. Usually they try to present a false reality where they make you want to think that they want you to think that this is anything but this massive government, that you're going to clearly been working on that. Which this massive government, unfortunately for this low life, unfair for them actually, is that not too long ago a bill called End National Defense Network Abuse Act was impromptu, actually was created because apparently child porn is such an issue at the Department of Defense that they were downloading so much child porn. They were being ranked. The Department of Defense, as I say, the DoD employees were downloading so much child porn using computers provided to them by the Department of Defense. I mean, we're talking about people from DARPA to other employees at the Pentagon, the DoD. It's so disturbing. The Child Protective Services ranked them as top-tier child porn traffickers, right? It's so nasty. Now, this perps talking to me in this childlike ways are working for these governmental entities. It's clear. They try to make you think that it's this feminist group of money, of scientists and governments that it's different. They're different because they're protectors of children, because they're genders, and they have like this facade, like the new age kind of like feminism that's so fraudulent that people don't even believe anymore. Like those who want, like everybody's like, you guys are like just selective, all right? Conveniently feminism, then like the feminism that is no longer respected as feminism anymore. The feminism where even women don't even want to associate themselves to that. They present these things now. The type of feminism where this is why people don't respect feminism anymore is because this is not about feminism. There's like an agenda. They're this kind of fucking sad trash. But with this like this like radicalness that is falsified, that's for sale, right? So they do the same thing they do to all target individuals, but present this facade, right? Say that we're gonna dare because we're radical to implant child porn in your devices, right? They're radical, but they're working for these governmental entities that does have issue with pedophilia, but They have this facade of this feminism because when they do that, it's a fierce feminist type of femme fatale type of look. It's so fucking nasty. Not too long ago, somebody tried to come in my apartment, tried to play this as I insulted her immediately. You want to see a video of that? I was like, what, you piece of shit, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck, like, and she was trying to play this feminist trash ass, like, I don't know what this fucking shit, excuse my language, but these perps really stay in character, huh? They think they can act into a reality that's like, they create a fantasized reality where they can create this false reality, and you're going to be like, no, I know what this is real about, and then you clearly understand why. And by the way, this technology makes them believe that even more because they can create a false reality. Oh my gosh, your whole life can be orchestrated in certain ways. They can create false mistakes and put things together in ways, and in your brain, because you're being altered, you're going to think this way, and everything is orchestrated. Everything. They can orchestrate you to think. So these retards think that, oh, okay, because we can do that, let's just try to make it look this way. Target individual, be quick to see that as just a facade. The government that has this issue of pedophilia is behind these things. They use this low life as whatever facade they present themselves as. I mean, you heard target individuals say they think that this is people who are, the occult, this and that, or anything by a massive government. Matter of fact, for me, they was telling me initially, oh, we're a bad government, but it was bad before I knew what bad meant. So now they're kind of retracting from that. Because bad is actually not only a government that tortures women and children, but a government where there's issue of pedophilia. That kind of bad they were talking about. So now they're retracting that now we're like this feminist, and like there was this ad that came up not too long ago in 2020 or so, 2021, where everybody was mocking the CIA for it. There was this ad that everybody's like, this is such a fucking psyop, and that's when this woke thing is compromised now. There was this ad where this Hispanic woman was using all the pronouns and terminology that everything now is very woke, right? Which, listen, I'm on the liberal side of things, right? But I can tell when things are just compromised now. You talk about the CIA. You know how trashy and disgusting these people are. But obviously, they to recruit people, they CIA. So CIA will CIA. But this retards like, no, we're different, we're feminine. It's like trash your low life. This is just a psyop and try to cover up reality. Matter of fact, CIA has a lot of problem with pedophilia too. Oh gosh, the BuzzFeed article came out not too long ago in 2020, I think, or end of 2021, 2020. End of 2021, 2022, sorry. And the BuzzFeed article was like, CIA out of all the agencies have like the biggest issue with like child abuse, child porn, and all that. They have a huge issue. I mean, to the point where they caught the CIA agent. Guess how they caught him? His work computer, he left it unattended somewhere, a laptop. Guess what they saw? Child porn, of course. Right? So at the end of the day, I know the reality of what this is. So when they say, oh, we're there, it's like, you disgusting shit. You're disgusting low life. Because you think that when you do it, with the facade that you presented, it's not as disgusting as this issue with child porn being done by the entities that contract you, low life. That it's radical when you guys do it, but when the employees that empowers you is different, you're the same trash as them, if not worse. But it's okay, it's so easy for me to just put that in their faces. It's just magical. And they send, of course, the child like trash who's supposed to agitate me and use terminology to agitate me. I was like, oh, it's not fair. I was like, it's absolutely fair. Trash. You work for pedos, and you're going to do pedo things. Would you be mad if trash is being trash? No. So for me, I see them as like, it's fair. You do what you do. Yes. You work for entities with a lot of pedophilia and child porn, you're going to do a lot of pedophilia and child porn things. It's clear to me. At least I get to know that before that happened, because they will imagine if I didn't know that these entities were so prominent with child porn, were so prevalent with child porn, that a whole bill was created. And they did this like, oh, we dare, and I'm like, this is not daring. But I'm like, oh, okay, but you guys are the top tier child porn traffickers, so it kind of makes, it makes sense. You guys traffic a lot of child porn. You work for entities with a lot of child porn trafficking. So it's really not daring, even if you try to play like this fierce way. And of course, it's never going to be daring. But I'm saying like, no, but you guys do that. That's what you do. That's why there's a bill called End National Defense Network Abuse Act. That's what you guys are renowned to have as an issue. But I think they were trying to think, if we play the more fierce femme fatale, it's gonna look like we're different, and now you're trash. What you expect? Now see how things comes from you for you. For me, in this state it's bad. I am truly losing weight, wasting weight. I cannot eat. But they bring up all the torture and how I'm going to go through this and that, and then I'll die. But it loses this whole impact they want to have, because if you're talking to somebody who's dying, and you tell, hey, you dying man, he's going to do this, he's going to cut you up, he's going to do this, he's going to be hung. I was like, I'm dying. So, no, I don't want to go through that, but I'm dying. So, it doesn't really hit the same way. But you are living, and you are out here daring to put child porn. Well, I wonder what future comes to you with this long life you have going. The facade has been destroyed. Matter of fact, you're making that optic that everybody now detests feminism. The reason why feminism is no longer respected as it should, as it used to be. You like reinforcing that fucking optic. It's clearly the governmental entities are running this program. Matter of fact, the people who put me in this program, what I love about this, it's just how they're so deflecting from reality. They try to distort reality so much. The people who put me in this program, right, they are so conservative, right? They will be like, everything that's feminism today, or or most of feminism would go against. No, the people who put me here literally donated a large sum of money that they were recognized for trying to abolish abortion. The Roe versus Wade thing that happened not too long ago. Oh yeah, they were the biggest donor. The company that put me in this program were the company recognized for donating a lot of money for that to happen. So it's magical how they just try to deflect and distort reality. In everywhere, they just like the feminism that's for purchase, for the look of it, for the optics of it. That's what they are. Now, the thought process that they clearly have made everybody else experience. I mean, a lot of target visual at least. Is what I'm experiencing. Of course, these people have no shame how stupid they look. They don't give a damn. They don't care about how embarrassing things look like. They don't care. There's, like I said, there's man-child, there's childlike individuals of all sorts. No shame. The reason why some of them have no shame is because they're not visible. When you see them in person, especially, it's just a magical thing. I love to take pictures of them. You clearly know that your brain is being rewired. They do that systematically. They do it so on point. It's scary. When you hear somebody describing exactly what you're going through and how they're describing your brain, the brain being rewired and rewired in this way, and play with the perceptions and play with these manipulations and do the pedophilia type of torture, and you describe, giving you a vocabulary to describe what's happening to you, because they're describing literally what you're going through. And you see this man-child trash like, no, but it's in you, and I'm like, wow. Like, this is somebody that will die. That's why I'm like, I could have lived a life where my life could be so embarrassing to myself. But they love it because the empowerment they got of it is majestic. And that's why I'm like, you're different. That's why I cannot be you. Because with what you get, this is the embarrassment that you have to live like. I can't do that. Even small things for me embarrass me already. So doing what you do will just push me to suicide. So for me, they're like, no, but with you, for example, right? What they're bringing up right now is my neighbors. They're children. All my neighbors are so disgusting. Apparently, what they're saying is they're gonna frame me, right? And as I'm saying that they're trying to deflect and go somewhere else. They love doing that. But I'm gonna stick to this topic and this subject. They are gonna frame me, right? Once again, what you think these people with pedophilia issue and how they're gonna do things. Like I said, you're gonna expect trash to be trash. You're gonna expect people where pedophilia is an issue and a prevalency of an issue to do pedophilia things. They're gonna frame me using their children. Yes, let me just repeat that. They're gonna use their own children and come up with a frame, which they don't even want to use frame. They try to use trapped. Like it's not even trapping. It's literally framing, literally creating framing. Oh, but one thing they say they can do to me is like they can control me when I'm not conscious. Listen, this technology is very, very sophisticated. I have no idea if it's true or not, because obviously if this is true, it's not something I'm conscious to know if it's true. In that case, it's just them controlling me when I'm completely unconscious to do whatever they want me to. So I don't know if that's true. This is what they say. I don't know if it's true or not. But they're saying that they're going to create some kind of framing of some sort where they're going to make it look like that I've been doing things. Matter of fact, I know for sure, for example, my devices. They're going to play with my devices, make it look like I'm communicating with somebody who's a child, and say things in a obviously sexual way to frame it that way toward the child. Matter of fact, they're so in character, right? It's magical. They're so in character and stay in tune and method acting to come out like, she's only 15 years old. She's only 16 years old. Or whatever underage they want to come up. Whatever. Whatever age from she's only 13 years old. And they open the door, slam the door. Right? I'm like, is that how you guys are playing the frame? Like, don't tell me about it. We'll see each other, I guess. I'm not going to help you guys stay in method acting. No, I'm not going to help you stay in character. No, I'm not. We'll see each other in courts when I see this person that you have groomed to frame people and see the beautiful future that this person's gonna have in the future. Oh, but the fact that beautiful is a word they love to use. It's beautiful. Apparently, in this communications interaction I'm having with this child, the word beautiful was used to describe her. So they love to say that. Say, I'm beautiful. You can imagine how nasty this shit is. Excuse my language. Matter of fact, some of the co-workers love to say, "Oh, this is a beautiful word." I'm like, are you? Do you want to stay in character? Is that the word that you guys use? Beautiful. It's so stupid. It's magical. So for me, I'm like, these people they have to be consistently be clowns, but it's okay. For me, it gives me a lot of pleasure to be the one who be this rational, logical, individual. And matter of fact, to make me acceptive of this, they have this noise campaign, right? That try to make me like make me acceptive of these manipulations or whatever narrative they want me to have. And the noise campaign sometimes is supposed to be scary. For example, they make noise of chains because they say I'm going to be in chains and they're going to make me torture me. That I'm going to be a dog. I'm like, I'd rather die a dog. I'm dying right now. Then do whatever you're doing right now. I'm not gonna. And they're gonna create theatric of torture. And this is how sad it is now. They don't even live in reality anymore. To keep themselves in this falsified reality, they're even gonna create a theatrical torture. So that when they see me in suffering and dying, I'm screaming and all that, which God give me strength for all of that. They're gonna be like, oh yeah, we'll pity you. Or what this is how delusional they get to themselves. It's magical. It's magical. But another thing that's disgusting here with the neighbors is they have like young children, babies. Oh no, for them I feel bad. I feel bad for these babies. As I'm saying, even babies, they try to do something in my tongue. But I feel bad for them. For them, I cannot look at them and like, oh, that's what they get for. And I mean, what I mean, that's what they get is because for these teenage kids, that's what they get to be God. You call yourself God, so okay, learn how life goes. Oh, do these things, see your future. It's not hard to predict that a child growing up, framing people, is not going to grow up to be a normal person. This child is going to have issues. It's easy. It's going to come to them magically. It's obvious. It's easy prediction. It's easy call. The time, the when and then, when it comes, I don't know. But it's for sure. It's something it's going to come back in very mean ways to them, right? But they don't think about it now. Matter of fact, they don't even think about their future in that fashion. They kind of block it out. Just like this person who is not thinking about the future of like, hey, I should just kind of focus on doing good things right now, keep my energy in positiveness, and as I'm going through this, whatever I'm going to go through, I stay the positive vibe on my side. Because things are kind of happening in this bizarre timing. He was supposed to be the only one out here suffering, dying, and going through. Now I'm going through this thing. Well, me, I'm going accordingly, but her not accordingly. Right? And they hate that. I love to bring the reality in that. They hate the fact that this is the reality of things. Because they wanted to play this mistakeful trash, thinking, no, it won't come back to them. So it's easy to predict things like that. It's like this person was dedicating this time to they appreciate me, to do all these bad things to me. Is it kind of bizarre with the amount of time and effort she took to do these bad things to me? To play that this will happen to her this way, it's not too hard to think, oh, perhaps that's how things do come back in one way or another. But I know if this is what it's for sure. This is a clear call, and I was saying that before. I didn't expect to see it, but that's how it is. Now, to call out the children that grow up to do these things and framing people will probably not grow up to be normal, it's very easy to call that out. It doesn't take a prophet, but I'll call myself a prophet for them to just see how stupid they have to make themselves be. Matter of fact, it's funny when I see the neighbors doing that with their children, and I know the coworkers have children, but they will never do that with their children that way. Oh, they'll show their children, right? They'll show their babies on camera. So I see them. Once I see them, the magical things they can do to my brain is going to be happening. They force me to have the stimulation. That's the extent of what they can do. They will never have their children literally say that this man has raped you, this and that, and that. They won't go that far. But they will openly, see that my child, they will bring it in, and then be so mad. Oh, pay. What I'm saying is, they have this ability to manipulate your brain in a very pedophile ways. It's so nasty. And I've been saying that since since 2020. They have manipulated the brain to have these perceptions, sensations, and manipulations that are just disturbing. That's sexual toward children. It's something they can tweak around to give a perception in this fashion, give a sensation, a feeling. It's so nasty. And they send this childlike shit. This childlike perps that come in all shape or form, right? Just like, now we're mapping, we're mining your brain. It's there. Yeah, it's there because you're in there. Right? They don't even. It doesn't even become about, okay, we're not doing anything to your brain, but they're saying now it's there. It was there. It's there. They're doing something to my brain, but it was there. So they're doing something with something that was there. Saying that, yeah, we're changing things around, but it was there. So this is how logical they want to be. That something in my brain, there was something there like that, but they're in my brain rearranging it for me to feel like this. So they're altering my brain. They're admitting they are altering my brain, but they're altering my brain with what is in my brain already. Do you understand the level of retardation these people have to be? If somebody altered somebody's brain, that means the person's brain is no longer the same, because it's being changed around. If you change something around, it's no longer the same, right? These people make me a genius, and I love that. Because even saying that is just like, this grown man can say that. And they love to deflect. Oh, you're dying. Yes, I'm dying. And you're saying that you're altering my brain, but because you're altering the brain, my brain, and there's something, hold on, let me repeat that. They're altering my brain, but they're using what's already in my brain. But altering it. They're changing. They're putting something there that shouldn't be there, but it was already in my brain. These people are human clowns. And really want to hold on to this rationale. They are changing people's brain. They are rewiring the brain. They are changing how you react, how you process, how you think, how you perceive, how your emotions, your memories. They are rewiring you as a human being. You are no longer yourself. They are depatterning you, repatterning you in this fashion. So now they're bringing up what they did to me toward their kids. Oh, like I said, they're babies, innocent as it gets. Babies. I feel even bad. I can't even hate them. I remember when I just moved here. This man brought his child. This is like 6, 7 year old kid. Oh, so sad. Oh, it hurt my heart. It's like, oh, come on, you gonna bring your child like that? Just pure innocence. This 6, 7 year old girl. Oh, and they're like, oh, you think beautiful little girl, but now in my head turned into something sexual. I'm like, oh, it's so sad. It's so disgusting. They give me this sensation in my brain where they can create this thing. But the fact that at one point they were making me think of a woman, and it was crazy. For 2 years of just pure manipulation. I told this kid. I remember saying, I was like, dude, you gonna do that to your baby like that? But I realized they can do worse than that. Because this is the norm. The extra is when they're gonna create the frame. So now I'm like, hey, please don't use the child to frame. Use the older kid at least. Don't fuck her life up like that. Like for the sake of your own child. Because I feel bad. Me, I'm in the state of phasing away. So I don't care. These people apparently should have a long life ahead of them. Can you imagine? You're a 6, 7 year old. You tell your parents is putting you in the circumstances. That at this point, I feel bad for this child. But they're like, oh, they bring up the way they made me feel toward this kid, and the stimulations and the emotions and the feelings and the perceptions they've created with this weird, like, non just innocent thing anymore, but more like with a weird feeling and emotion and perceptions that's changed and creating, like, she doesn't even look that way, but they're changing it a little bit to make her look a little bit more adulty, my brain, doing whatever the way they can play my brain. It's so sad. And I'm like, yo, you guys are nasty. But I've been making videos about the way they make me perceive these babies. This is the same thing. Matter of fact, this baby specifically, they make me. I was looking at a woman who's like older even than me. She's also from the same ethnicity. They start making me think of that baby. I'm like, oh my gosh. She's like, no, this, see, we're mapping. Oh my gosh, this woman is like a 40+ year old woman. Been creating this sensation. It's so sad, but it's okay. At the end of the day, they'll get theirs. Target individual, for me, it's been my pleasure to sound this mysticful, magical being. Because I know who I am for real. I'm not perfect. I know my imperfection. I don't even need to call them out. But this is the sad things that they do to their own children. This is sad. It's really sad for these babies. There's one the one that broke my heart the most is one that was like this, like scared. They put this kid in these circumstances like that. But it's okay. These parents will get theirs one way or another. What they deserve to even put their kids in those kind of circumstances. That's just horrible. When it comes to the teenage kids, I don't care what they frame me. Yeah, frame me, use these kids. Well, watch their bright future. I really don't. I understand that these trash are being groomed to continuously do these horrible things, and they just gonna train these people to become trash and low life. But it's okay. I'm careless. I have no care. And I just enjoy saying that. Hey, when I say I have no care for them, I was like, when I say watch the future of these kids, they're not gonna grow up to be much. That's for sure. You don't grow up doing these foul things and grow up to be normal. And even something will always be off. Always. That's why the other people thank them so much. They have children, right? They love to thank them. And these kids, they're children. If you hype a child up, and if everybody runs, oh yes, you're such a hero, thank you. This child is gonna take it. Oh, I'm a hero, and she's really gonna think that she's truly a hero, like a child. So I can see these kids really thinking in their mind that, oh, we are a hero. Yo, not understanding that these people thanking you, they will never have their children do what you do. You're a hero because they want to see me go through whatever I'm going to go through. They don't want to use their children. They will never use their children for that. They love their children. They want the best future for their children. So that is not something they can do. They will have their children be shown on camera. That's nothing. Go ahead, play. This is all mental manipulations and psychological. But when it comes to like creating a frame, never. What? That means that my child will always be connected to this forever? Ever, ever? Never. But we can play with his brain like that. No problem. Make him think in these disturbing ways. It's okay. That's in his mind. But the perps here, they're children. Oh, it's magical. Oh, they hype their own children up. It's so sad. The children, being children, don't even. What you think they think about 10 years from now, how they're gonna be? They don't give a damn. They think as a child, oh, it's gonna be bad, and then I'll die. It's like, oh yeah, oh okay. You think you're gonna make it to my age? Okay. So, for me, target individual, it's simple. I keep saying, I don't want to sound dark, but for me, I've accepted the end a long time ago. Matter of fact, I'm surprised I'm still alive today. I just love the fact that these people who talk about all these things they're talking about are fully alive and don't know when the day comes. Some of them are very healthy. Some of them are no longer healthy. It happened while they were making me unhealthy, which is kind of magical. It's done. They could never live that fantasy. Matter of fact, a child just ran out and said, he used her hand. You know what they try to use? They talk about me when I was a child, about maybe their age or around that age. So 13, 14 years old. Because now they're even hyping these kids up to think that me, what I did as a child, which they try to exaggerate. That's why they love to use her hands. They try to exaggerate a little bit more than what I actually did when I was a child. To try to use that as oh, you pay for that. Oh my gosh. Well, it's clear that they torture children, and it's so nasty because these children will most likely continue to do these things, and they get to the point where they'll do that to children. Some of these people doing that to me have done that to children. You clearly hear how they torture children in such a horrible ways. I mean, sexual torture and all that. This is what I'm saying. Like, if there's an actual hell when you die, there's no way these people will not go there. There's no way. There is no way. And I don't care if they feel bad or not, because the people who watch me slowly die don't feel bad about me. But I guarantee you, right, when they go through what they're going through, they feel bad now. Not about me, but they feel bad about what's happening to them. So for me, if, like I said, these people, they've been compromised in so many ways. They work for governmental entities where child porn has been such an issue. You're going to hear that. Big time issue. Big time issue. You're going to hear child porn being a big problem that kept coming up in the Department of Defense. You're going to clearly hear that the Department of Defense, specifically DARPA, is working on technology that they've been developing weapon system, direct energy weapon system, also weapon system targeting the brain, to see how they can alter the brain, alter the human brain and the human body as a whole. So those are obviously those entities doing that and employing these losers of human beings that even sell the kids to these entities that happen to have a lot of problem with pedophilia. Now, to even kill this whole thing in the fantasized way, the whole fantasy, they torture children. So when they try to say, oh, you use her hand, try to talk about me as a child in middle school, try to exaggerate that, they torture babies. When I say baby, I'm literally like infants out of the womb about 3 weeks ago. like a newborn baby of 3 weeks, rotting this child up, making them sick to the point where they get rashes. Right now, there's somebody in the hallways. They're making a noise campaign. Reality is what they try to deflect. Because what I'm saying is these people are involved in something that tortured babies, as they forced me to get sexual stimulation to a baby in front of me. There's a baby on the box. They forcing me to have this sexual stimulation, but they torture children, infants. Oh, the kid, like 4-year old, because they love to say four pay, what you did as a kid. You're gonna hear like a 4-year old with Down syndrome. Not even a healthy 4-year old. A 4-year old with Down syndrome. Not only a baby, a child, but a child with mental handicap, torturing these children in sexual ways. Oh, by the way, right now I'm hearing a child saying, "You raped me," because she's trying to deflect from what I just said of how they torture children sexually, to make me think of how they're going to frame me using these children who you're going to hear in these testimonials. They use children. People think that some of the participants here are 14-year-old next door neighbors. It's a child. I don't know if it's a 14-year-old, but it's a child yelling, "You raped me," in order to deflect from me bringing up the fact that they involved and connected to something that tortured children while manipulating the brain in these pedophilia ways, which, what they say, by the way, is like, we're mapping your brain. Remember what you did as a kid. So here's another logical way they want me to start thinking. They're making me think that, no, okay, remember what you did as a kid? No, you thought like that when you were a kid. We're making you think like a child. You know the movie where a child becomes an adult? Where they switch body, where like a 13 or so turn into an adult? And the adult start acting like a child? Basically, they're saying they're making me mentally retarded. Which is retarded. No, of course they don't do that. They're just actually manipulating my brain in the pedophilia ways. These experiences are experienced because they're in my brain manipulating the brain. I will never have this manipulation. And when I was a child, I was not experiencing this. They just put that in my brain now. And then actually, as I'm speaking right now, they're like, I feel the pressure in my brain. Because obviously they're altering my brain. It's clear what this trash are part of. I'm so thankful that before whatever horror I'm going to go through, which, let me just say, I'm already dying. But thank you, God. First, thank you that I didn't live my life like this trash. Thank you that I was not being groomed to frame people, to torture people, to force people to think in these pedophilia ways, to deflect and disorient people, and to think that this is not this governmental entity that's been doing that to even children. And then start creating these storylines to embarrass myself. Grew up where I think being a clown is normal, like that. We're creating stories of that is clown, like so embarrassing. The shame they have, the shame. It's not even the shame of what they're doing to me. I don't even care, but you don't have shame saying that you're free. The shame is like how you're trying to present yourself. What is clear, what is they're part of, is obvious as ever. Not too long ago, I saw a woman, a next door neighbor. To see her how dirty and trashy she is, it's magical. And as you see her, she's like a fragile 60-some-year-old woman. And I'm looking at her, it's like, you can be dying tomorrow. This is how you want to live your life before those days come? Okay. You look like trash. She looked like what she's part of. This is what I love about her. It's like she looked like the trash. And she had that smirk. I was like, oh my gosh. Even though I know you're smirking because you saw my torture. You know I'm dying right now. Look at you living your best life. And it's over. We already know who has the issue of pedophilia and the pedos. Can you imagine working for governmental entities where child porn is such an issue that they try to convince you, now with you what we're doing, we're mapping, we're mining your brain. You were when you're a kid. That's what today you have this. No, you're forcing me to have this manipulation. I'm not a child. You don't make an adult brain be a child brain and make them think that makes sense. You fucking retard. And you are involved in something that tortured children. And there is so much testimonials of the way they manipulate people. It's in life there's validations and there's what you're gonna hear. And I love these perps because VRV2K, they have no shame. They will say there is, and they will this like tonality that's supposed to be like convincing. There is. And you're like, where do you find this shamelessness of being trying to use your tone in that fashion because you think if I say there is,
I'll be like, oh, okay, now that makes sense. You're just minding my brain as me as a child, and that's it. That makes sense. Instead of obviously doing what they do, altering the brain to force somebody to have reaction toward children. But she's saying there is because no, we make your brain as a child, we mapped it to you. Can you imagine how retarded? Even this is the logical ways. And saying that with that, like there is. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could not live like you. Target individual. I'm so thankful that before whatever happened to me, I was validated in magical ways. Please, once again, see the clear validation that we always have. This is the reality of what's happening to us.
In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior. The project reportedly ended in 1969, but DARPA's investigation of how machines can affect and possibly control the brain continues to this day. Human mind can be altered. Control human behavior.
Just another conspiracy theory that's impossible to prove. Maybe. But not if you listen to Nick Begich.
I think there's some good evidence that Cheryl Welch and many of the other people I've spoken with have been victimized by this electromagnetic mind control experiments. The weapons of this century aren't bombs and bullets and ordnance, but electromagnetic energy targeting the human being, which is a greatest revolution in military affairs since gunpowder.
Begich is an expert in government mind control. He is convinced the Pentagon has mastered a technology once thought to be science fiction, the ability to broadcast information directly into the human brain.
Our government began spending a lot of time looking at how to modify behavior of human beings. Going back to the Korean War, in fact, in a publication, Low Intensity Conflict in Modern Technology, they have a chapter on electromagnetic weapon systems, being able to not just to debilitate someone, but actually even to stimulate certain activities within the brain.
But how?
HARP is the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project, which started as a joint effort of the Air Force and Navy. This is a very large array or field of antennas based in Alaska, radio frequency antennas.
HARP antennas transmit powerful radio signals into the upper atmosphere to study the effects on wireless communications. But Begich says HARP can also be used for more sinister ends.
HARP has announced several other programs and campaigns, and there's two areas that I got very concerned about. One was weather modification applications. The other was the effect on human beings. If you can modulate a signal that the brain locks onto, recognizes, and begins to mirror or follow the frequency following response, the brain rhythms change, then it creates a chemical cascade within the brain and the emotions change. Now the resolution gets finer and finer and finer. And it used to just to be about triggering emotions. You could change people's brain chemistry pretty readily, change their emotional state pretty easily. But when you get down to the idea of thoughts and being able to manipulate those, that requires a different kind of sophistication.
Can we hear sounds?
Designed to interact with the human nervous system in order to remotely pick up on someone's neural network or EEG and not only receive that and monitor it, but manipulate it and place it back into the victim to control their emotions or control their actions or bodily functions for that matter. The other more recent term we have for that is EEG heterodyning or EEG cloning. The difference between EEG heterodyning and EEG cloning would be, let's say, me remotely receiving your EEG and then duplicating it and putting that in another person to give them your same thoughts or feelings or physical reactions. EEG heterodyning would be receiving your EEG, manipulating it to put it back inside your head to give us a desired physical reaction or emotional reaction.
With external fields of all kinds. For radio frequency, you can look at the Radio Frequency Dosimetry Handbook, 1986, University of Utah, produced for the Air Force. It gives you the resonant frequencies for each vital organ so that you can send in a radio signal that will couple with the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, and cause them to malfunction so that you can degrade the performance of your adversary. The new weapon systems being developed today will attack the mind, the body, and our physiology on an energetic level. Not with bullets and bombs. It's a perfect Republican weapon. No offense to Republicans here, but you don't want to destroy the property. You're going to have to rebuild it afterwards. This is a weapon systems of the 21st century. It's the very beginning of it in a lot of ways, but the research goes back over 50 years.
My name is Dr. John Hall. I'm a medical doctor from Texas. As I understand the memorandum from the President, it's for you to determine if current legislation is adequate in protecting individuals and if there's any ongoing experimentation. In reviewing the common rule, it's very obvious that there's a lot of loopholes to informed consent. All of the horrific experiments you've mentioned, Willowbrook, MK Ultra, radiation experiments, mostly were done without informed consent. They were funded by the DoD and intelligence agencies, where I'm not even so sure you would know if there's an IRB, much less if an IRB is looking at informed consent. As a physician, relative to some of what you're hearing today, in the community, we are seeing an alarming rate of complaints of use of electromagnetic weapons, microwave auditory effects, silent sound spectrum, EEG cloning, which has taken the lab out of the laboratory and into the home. Most of these, from the research that we reviewed, can be done remotely. It seems to be more weapons research than medical research. I personally corresponded with upwards of 1,500 victims, all complaining of identical complaints from every state in the nation of being exposed to electromagnetic radiation, non-ionizing radiation for the use of cognitive control or behavior control. I've submitted a paper to you, and there's another paper submitted to each member from another physician in Kansas City alluding to the same thing.
You do that, you can control them using neuro-linguistic programming techniques. You're rewiring their thought processes and brains. And so this gets into what's called offensive information warfare. And they used it, I believe, in the Gulf War. You can call it a eugenics program even. But also walk them to their, they want to see if they can, hyper game theory. How do you, they want to see if they can manipulate people to do things that are irrational, but also walk them to their death. And so you can call it a eugenics program even. And they need to sample all cultures, language throughout the world to define their probability matrices of which tricks, techniques, deception works. So how do you control a brain? Most people don't believe that. Well, you can't control me. I have my own free will.
V2K, or voice to skull. This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual, as well as just
It is dramatic. It's somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophilia. This disgusting, disgusting, disgusting things. You saw where I was going with that first word. disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in my surroundings or whatever they're doing. I don't know how they do it. I don't care. I don't know if it's through weapons. I don't know. I don't care.
This is a common breakdown tactic of belief systems and the human will. In no-touch torture, the techniques are more psychologically specialized for each target. Most common examples include homosexual targets that are forced with voices that are derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds. And vice versa.
They use these monarch-style torture programs, like it's based on sex and trauma. So they're gonna traumatize you. They're gonna use your libido to get back at you, and
this technology can be used to sexually manipulate the target. It can make the target feel sexual arousal.
Experience what is referred to as malodorance. This is the alteration of the smell sensation so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planted dreams and form of torture. They coordinate the voice. I really mean extreme. I experienced an entire night with forced spontaneous orgasms repeatedly all through the night, one right after another, with maybe around 1 hour of sleep or so, as I lay immobilized in my bed.
And they are doing this, that I meant what I said. Able to impose any information on the brain of a person, presumably by some kind of waves, which in the mind take the form of voices, thoughts and images and imagination. In addition to this kind of implanting information that they need, they manipulate the psyche so that the information is written into your memory. Then by stimulating the certain regions in the brain, they can retrieve this information and present it as your own memory. This is the conclusion that can be made judging by the influence they have been making on me with their psychotronic weapons, for example artificial thoughts, imagination, and mental torture.
I also often see highly disturbing pornographic images and videos, including highly disturbing pedophilia type of images and videos when I close my eyes.
You might guess that this person developed delusional disorder. This is a paranoid schizophrenia. But first of all, nobody develops paranoid schizophrenia in the 50s, in their 50s. This is, if you haven't developed it by 30, it's not. Then this technology exists. These nefarious programs exist. And it's hard to imagine for a person that why would you do something like this? But if you think about the new type of warfare,
cognitive warfare.
Exactly. It's a cognitive warfare. You don't have to kill people that you are fighting against. You can just degrade their brain. You can,
you alter their minds.
Yeah, alter their minds.
Personalities.
And it's like Chinese torture. I mean, okay, so.
So this gets into creating Manchurian candidates, split personality, and information curtains, satanic ritual abuse. Okay, so they'll say we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's. So they'll say we're the V2K. So they'll say we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's, satanic ritual abuse. And I've heard all these stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis that people will believe something other than a massive government could do this.
It's already being used. I mean,
if you talk to the victims,
not
Ms. Catherine Nestor.
My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutman to begin today.
I am currently a speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic, and they used her to threaten the most torture in me as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy sessions. I observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "ow." I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. During one session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair. And then he made a frightening grimace of severe
and have had a decent education. I live in El Dorado Hills, California, with my wife of 14 years, Lorna, and our 5 children. Nicole is 15, Patricia 14, Christopher 13, Dylan 9, and Avery 16 months old. Not only have I been going through this, but my entire family has suffered right by my side. We have all experienced the same type of harassment on different levels. We have all suffered the same symptoms while this harassment was going on. Some of our physical symptoms include severe tooth decay and vision loss, unexplained rashes and burns, severe headaches, mood swings, anxiety, thyroid problems, high blood pressure, heart problems, vision loss, and cancer. Two of my children were born premature, which I attribute to this. Our son Dylan, now age 9, was born very premature. He was born at 31 weeks. During her pregnancy, with Dylan, we were being targeted more so than other times. At the delivery there were weird men walking and waiting around the hospital. Right outside our delivery room window, there was a white cargo van parked with 2 suspicious men inside. They were there the entire labor, a delivery. Our son had to be transported to another hospital 45 minutes away. When arriving to the Toa hospital, those same men and van were present. Three of my children have severe rashes that have not been explained by several doctors. These rashes have been present for several years at a time. If interested, I will gladly furnish you with detailed photos of the rashes. Our infant daughter, at 3 weeks old, was diagnosed with Lerner syndrome. This was after a severe rash appeared on her body after a few days of torture. We were told by a couple doctors to take her home and love her and spend the rest of the time we have with her. They told us she would ultimately die from this syndrome.
Why do people do this?
Sensitive secrets, potentially making this. The Defense Department releasing brand new details into an investigation involving child pornography and dozens of its workers and contractors, some with top-level security clearance. Not only are these very serious accusations, but investigators say some of the people involved were handling the nation's most sensitive secrets, potentially making this a matter of national security. Chief Fox Report correspondent Jonathan Hunt with the news. Appalling story, Jonathan. Do we know more about these people and their security clearances?
Well, we don't know their exact job titles, John, but what we do know is that they did appear to be working, some of them at high levels, across a range of government agencies. Take a look at this, for instance, the National Security Agency, the National Reconnaissance Office, and the very secretive Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. Others also work.
Two-year-old and a 6-year-old. He was simply fired. One employee purchased sexually explicit videos of young girls filmed by their mothers. He resigned. One employee estimated that he had viewed up to 1,400 sexually abusive images of children while on agency assignments. Not sure what actions, if any, were taken by him. One contractor arranged for sex with an undercover FBI agent. I think that you mentioned that. Posing as a child, he had his contract revoked. One CIA staffer was charged with child sexual crimes, and the employee was also under investigation for mishandling classified material. But sexual crimes involving children, says BuzzFeed, including the viewing of images of abuse, have been uncovered at other agencies that handle sensitive information. In a November 2009 report, the Department of Defense acknowledged that dozens of Pentagon staff members or contractors had such images. In 2014, the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community found that 2 officials from the National Reconnaissance Office, which oversees America's spy satellites, acknowledged viewing images of child sexual abuse during polygraph examinations. This is so disturbing. At a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable. Is this something that is happening in the general population? Evil.
Allie, we're told, and when I was put through recruitment into the intel community, you're put through polygraphs, you're put through a rigorous selection process. Why aren't these people weeded out? Why are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance? Remember, these aren't just people walking in off the street and saying, hey, can I get hired? Can I get a job? You're put through an extremely rigorous background check screening process. It's called an SSBI, single scope background investigation. investigation. There are people, they interview you, they interview your family, they interview your contacts, they go through your online footprint, they go through everything. So why is it that when they're going through these footprints, they're not checking, these digital footprints, they're not checking for so many pedophiles getting through their ranks? If it were up to me, you need to go into Congress, and Congress needs to launch a brand new church committee, number one, to talk about domestic surveillance operations, but number two, to ask the question, why are there so many pedophiles sitting behind
What is this? Oh shit! What the fuck you doing here?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Fucking shit.